It is Wednesday, my dudes, and you know what that means. It is time once again to revisit Adventure Woods Planet Coaster series on my channel, in which I build a theme park called Adventure Woods. And yes, it's the big one. Well, it's a big day, at least, for this series. This is the very first hour-plus long episode of Adventure Woods. And there's a very good reason for the very long length of this particular episode, and that's because we're going to be working on road infrastructure and parking infrastructure. It's a really, really time-consuming thing to do, you know, roadways and parking lots and all of that in Planet Coaster. And I feel like I guess it's fine to watch in for one episode, but to drag this out across 4 different episodes in 20-minute chunks, it's actually a bit less than that, isn't it? But you know what I mean? Splitting this up into lots of episodes might get a bit boring and repetitive, so let's just all cram it into one episode and just get all this out of the way. Hello? Was that a pitch, or was that a pitch? I hope I've sold you on the hour or so to come. But yeah, it has been 2 months since this series began to air, and yeah, what a wild ride it has been. So much has changed in my life. I'm now a multi-billionaire. I own 2 Bugatti Veyrons. I own a massive mansion. I've got 3 helicopters. And I finally was able to afford a Cervelo carbon fiber road bike. So I'm doing pretty well. I'm just saying all of this now in the hope that it will just become true because of the law of attraction. Because for me, guys, it is not 2 months since this series began. I've mentioned this in, I don't know if it was every episode of this series so far, but it's certainly a good number of them. And that is, I'm kind of just going on a big binge of just recording commentaries. I'm doing a pre-recorded podcast sort of thing, I guess. You know, I'm doing the commentaries fairly close together because that way I kind of remember what I said in previous commentaries, so that things don't get too repetitive. There is going to be an element of repetitiveness to these videos because, my commentary style, it probably leaves a little bit to be desired, and really talking directly about the footage, which is something I don't do because it's very difficult for me to talk directly about the footage when it's playing back so fast, but also because how many ways can I describe the path tool in Planet Coaster? It kind of sucks. The end. So, yeah. I don't think it's that much of a detriment to this series that I'm recording the commentary so far in advance, but I should actually finish this sentence before jumping to what my mind was going to say next. And that was, I've recorded 7 episodes so far. Let's just put it on hold now. Let time pass so that I'm a bit closer to real time when recording these commentaries. Just that I don't say anything, that would be out of date really quickly. I don't really talk about real world events in this series because it's just exhausting, isn't it? And again, I like just having a little soapbox to ramble to the 300 people that watch these videos. So there you are. That's how I justify it. But also, I kind of wanted to make this video today because on Wednesday, so I actually lied to you guys, okay? I started this video by saying, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Because indeed, for many of you, it will be a Wednesday when I publish this video. But for me, it is not a Wednesday, my dude. It is, in fact, a Friday. Friday, the 7th of October, to be precise. There's an indication of just how far in advance I'm recording these commentaries. And the reason why that's significant and why I wanted to start, wanted to do a commentary like this now, on this very day, was because Wednesday of this week, so the 5th of October, was the day I published the first ever episode of Adventure Woods. Series, extravaganza, etc., etc. And I just kind of wanted to, now it's fresh in my mind. I published it and kind of just went to bed after that. I was very tired. And I came out the next day, and first of all, I opened up my YouTube studio thing on desktop, and I was greeted by, this video has performed terribly. The ranking by views is 10 out of 10. And that's not a score of quality. That is, out of my 10 most recent uploads, this is the 10th most poor perform. It's got the 10th lowest views out of the last 10. It ain't doing very well. It's currently got, I've now just opened, classic staple of this series, right, is me opening Google Chrome, doing things on the internet, and dictating what I see on my travels. And yeah, it's got 13,000 views. My typical range at this point in a video's life is 66,000 to 87,000. So a bit on the low side, I guess you could say. Impressions through click rate, not great, only 3.5%. I don't know what my normal range is because I'm not very fluent in the YouTube Studio app, to be honest, guys. But, average view duration, that's 10 minutes 21 seconds. My average is between 5 minutes 58 and 6 minutes 46. So there we are. If I could pull out a market, this series does have its successes here and there. I should probably talk about what's on screen, shouldn't I? I'm building a roundabout. Now, I know any Americans out there, you're probably getting a little bit frightened at this point, maybe getting a little bit confused. But otherwise, you just settle down, put your AR-15 away. It's not a scary thing. We're gonna get through this together. So roundabout is very common in Europe, and I do know I'm being a bit facetious. I do know you guys do have roundabouts in North America, but I'm aware that at least through pop culture, I suppose, I don't actually know. I have never really been to America and looked for roundabouts. I've been to America, but I haven't really done it to look for roundabouts. You get what I'm saying. It's my understanding that in North America, roundabouts are a very seldom seen thing. So a lot of Americans don't actually know how to approach them properly, and they can cause a bit of confusion. Hence why I kind of went on that little tangent. And I think now that I've got that out of the way, no offense has been caused, and we can all agree that was a very funny joke. And you should all make sure you've liked the video and subscribed, of course. Here I am, by the way. I'm going to talk about the footage. I decided to quickly change the textures in my park. So I hadn't really changed them from the default, but I wanted to have a ground texture that was the same color as the tarmac paths. So, hey, now, you see, I built the road out of that tarmac path, but it wasn't quite the same color as the road spray paint that I laid down. And that was just so I could distinguish which was path and which was the spray paint, I guess. But now I don't need that anymore. I can change the textures out and make sure they completely match. And hey, looks pretty good. I'm told that they're not a perfect match, those textures, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, can you guys tell the difference? I mean, you are watching this on YouTube, which does smash and crush the video quality to, far less what it was when it was recorded. And I do my own color corrections and sharpening of the videos in, my editing software just to try and protect it as much as possible from the aforementioned video compression on YouTube. I say this a lot on my commentary, so I won't dwell too much on this point, but basically YouTube's video compression, it makes videos very dark, it sort of blurs them a bit, smudges all the outlines. So when I'm editing videos, I try and boost the brightness, boost the contrast, and sharpen up all the edges. So that's kind of how, and then when it's gone through all of that, it kind of looks weird when I'm just watching it on VLC player before I put it on YouTube. But then by the time it gets onto YouTube and it goes to the YouTube compression stuff, it ends up looking pretty nifty, if you don't, if I do say so myself. And we're just sort of adding some finishing touches to the roundabout here. I'm adding these planters just to sort of segregate the lanes, I suppose. Was there anything I wanted to say about this build? I guess I should have mentioned when I did it, because you might have been a bit confused, because there was quite a big, substantial piece of road infrastructure present when I started this series. And I never actually showed you guys the construction of that. I mean, I'm guessing you know this if you've seen all the episodes leading up to this one, but in case for some reason you haven't, basically I kind of built a big dual carriageway piece of roadway at first, like a highway type thing for Americans that might not know the term dual carriageway, because I think that's just a British thing. Anyway, big road, basically, much like the road I built for my park, Velocity Lake. But I thought, I went through loads of different iterations. I only showed me placing one, but I did go through a couple of different designs. I just couldn't arrive at one that I was happy with the appearance of, basically. And so I just sat back and did a little bit of soul seeking, and I thought, you know what? This is Adventure Woods. It's a theme park in the middle of the woods. Why would there be a gigantic piece of road infrastructure leading up to it? I get it's going to be popular, probably going to be a lot of traffic leading up to it, but does it necessitate a giant highway? Probably not. So instead, I scaled it. Oh, excuse me, I just choked on nothing. I scaled it way back and made it just a single country road in the middle of the forest in some place in the UK. Sherwood Forest. Yeah, actually, no, that's got a centre park, so maybe somewhere without a pre-existing tourist attraction. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I choked again. I'm going to have a sip of my... I'm not drinking Pepsi tonight. I'm drinking Sprite Zero. How about that? Yeah. Not going to pause the commentary because we are now 10 minutes in. And we've got a long way to go. We've got... Wait, is this commentary over an hour? Oh my gosh. It is not. It's like just shy of 55 minutes. Oh no, I lied earlier. And there's going to be people in the comments saying, you know, you were wrong. And I know that a lot of people won't have got to this point in the video because, how's this? Earlier I mentioned the first episode of this series. The average view duration was 10 minutes, 21 seconds. We're at 10 minutes, 44 right now. They've all gone. Everyone's gone. I'm just in a room rocking back and forth, talking to nobody except myself, proof watching this video, and probably Beth, my girlfriend. And the two of us, guys, we know something that you guys don't. This is, we're going to be proof watching this together. And this ain't our first rodeo proof watching things together. And I don't just mean that in a general sense. I mean, literally, this is not the first time we've proof watched this specific video. Because I've actually done I've made this video. I did a commentary for it that was 55 minutes, whatever, long, edited it down, did all my color correction, uploaded it to YouTube, which took freaking ages. And then we sat down to proof watch it, and I realized, I've cut out a massive chunk of footage. It just shows me placing some fences. This is where the problem happened. I was just placing some paths here and there, and then it just suddenly cut to this massive roadway had just been built, loads of fencing, loads of lighting, and it was 10 hours of work have clearly just passed. And so I was like, oh no, the video... Oh no. What happened was, guys, basically, I record my gameplay footage using NVIDIA Shadowplay. I don't think it's called that anymore. I think it's called NVIDIA Share, but everyone decided that name sucks, so everyone still calls it NVIDIA Shadowplay. And what happens when you record things with NVIDIA Shadowplay is it will just create a folder. Well, it has a folder that it saves footage to, but it doesn't just save the footage in this folder at random. When you press record, it looks at the program that you're recording, makes a folder in that, recording captures folder, and puts it in there. So, for example, in Planet Coaster, if I press record whilst playing Planet Coaster, NVIDIA Shadowplay makes a folder called Planet Coaster in the NVIDIA Shadowplay capture folder and puts all the footage in there. It also has a folder called Desktop. So if you press record and it doesn't detect a full screen program or a game or what have you, it labels it as a desktop capture and puts it in the desktop folder. So when I'm editing these videos, the first thing I'll do is I'll open up the Planet Coaster, folder and drag a day's worth of footage and drop it into Sony Vegas and start speeding it up, trimming it down, getting rid of all the fat and getting it all ready to commentate over. And that's usually it. And sometimes I notice there's a jump, that roller coaster wasn't there in the previous frame. What happened? So then I'll go back into the desktop capture folder and find, there it is. But my desktop capture folder is a bit of a mess because, as you can imagine, it kind of glitches. NVIDIA Shadowplay makes mistakes somewhat frequently, and there's loads of odd bits of Kerbal Space Program gameplay in there, random bits of things from Space This Week, for example. Lab Padre streams, those aren't archived anywhere. I have to go on the stream and record my screen using my capture software, so recording it to the desktop folder whenever things happen on Lab Padre's streams. So my desktop capture folder is the messiest folder on my whole computer. So I don't always catch things. And when it's things like this, building road infrastructure, building car parks, where all the footage is kind of the same thing over and over, it's easy to miss stuff. And in this case, guys, I missed it. And I must admit, I was a bit defeated. Because this was the big commentary. It took me ages to do the commentary for this video. And now I have to do it again. So that's my story there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, I don't think there is. I guess I could say that I added that little King coaster to the roundabout just there. A lot of Planet Coaster players will have the entrance to their park. I want to say entrance to the park. I mean the road that diverges from the main road, and this is the road that leads into the theme park for the cars. They usually put this big custom sign saying "Welcome to theme park, but obviously it's a name that doesn't suck. Like Adventure Woods, obviously the greatest name of all time, and definitely not something I plucked out of thin air in 3 seconds when designing this park. Like Moomin Little Socks is a channel I've been watching a lot of recently. I mentioned him in the first episode of Adventure Woods. Well, there we are. I've mentioned him again. They are Moomin Little Socks often puts what's it called? Big signs at the entrances of parks. I ain't got time for that though. It's a bit of a faff. It's a bit long. And I just don't like making fonts in Planet Coaster. It's such a long-winded process. I thought instead, let's just stick something that looks theme park related on this roundabout. And it's like an obvious enough indication that this is probably the theme park's entrance. Like, we live in the world of Google Maps, guys. Nobody's looking at paper maps and saying, let's just go down this road and look for the theme park. Everyone knows. Everyone knows where they're going. And so that's why I didn't bother. And I added that big red roller coaster track archway to again denote that this is the entrance to a theme park. And I was happy with that. And I got so bored building road infrastructure, guys, I thought, let's build some trains. Because trains, I think we could all agree, are much cooler than cars. And that's why I've crossfaded the footage over. Because I guess, kind of the same vein, I find building car infrastructure and parking lots and roadways in Planet Coaster a very tedious process, because Planet Coaster, it's not really designed to build roads and parking lots, because it's ultimately a theme park builder. So it was all kind of a secondary, well, there is no way of building car parks and roadways properly in Planet Coaster. It's all just building paths and dressing the paths up to look like roads. But yeah, I kind of went on a little mini side adventure, side quest, and I added a little Planet Coaster sign to the final curve, well, I guess the penultimate curve of the wooden roller coaster, because I realized the radius of that Planet Coaster sign was very close to the radius of the curve. I thought, hey, that adds a nice little bit of visual flair to that corner. Speaking of corners, here we are. Back on the roads, building some signs. I don't actually know what these signs are called, but they're the signs we have a lot in the UK. Every time there's a sharp bend in the road, these black and white signs are here. I don't know what their proper name is, and I do not care to look. I could Google. Now, I've got my second monitor on. I've got Google Chrome open, and Google Chrome is currently on my YouTube studio. And I remember the first time I did this commentary, it didn't go that smoothly. So I was just commenting saying, I was reading all the replies and I was moved by them and all of that. And I thought, let's just open Google Chrome, open YouTube Studio, open up the video, see how things went. And I opened my channel dashboard and was immediately greeted by a big yellow warning saying, warning! Green Harvest, or is it like, a copyright owner has claimed some content in your video. KSP, The Great Space Battle of Kerbin, Green Harvest Episode 5. And I was like, well, that can't be right, because all the footage in Green Harvest is royalty free. So let's check this out. And the segment that was copyright claimed was during a song by Ross Bugden. Great channel, by the way. Go and search him up on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. Ross Bugden makes really amazing cinematic music, and it's all free to use on YouTube, I think. I haven't checked his channel in a few years, because that's when I basically used him for Green Harvest, and I didn't really use him since. Sorry, Ross Bugden. Doesn't change the fact that I love you. Your music's great. Everyone should go check him out. Anyway, regardless, moving on. I've had a copyright claim from a song that he composed. And who is the claimant, you may ask? Why, it is none other than Ross himself. But not Ross Bugden, Ross Rugden. That is literally the name of the claimant copyright claiming me. So I was like, oh great. So this is just some stupid troll who's uploaded this song into the ID system to try and swindle some content creators out of their ad revenue. So luckily, I could file a dispute, and, it's still ongoing, because I only filed it yesterday whilst recording the first take of this commentary. I filed a dispute, and we're just going to let it run its course, I guess. But I guess one thing that's reassuring now with YouTube's copyright claim system is that I can file a dispute, and Ross Rugden, whoever this guy is, won't continue to make money off my video during the 30-day period where they need to respond. All the money now is going into some holding account, and when I eventually win this dispute, as I intend to, I'll get the money back. But it's just like a thing. It's like, why is this even possible, YouTube, I messaged Ross Rugden. I said the name wrong. I said Ross Rugden. That's not the guy. Ross Bugden is the guy. I messaged him on Twitter and explained, and he was like, yeah, that's not me. Dispute it, and it should be all right. But yeah, that's my situation with that. But I started this whole thing by saying I wanted to do this commentary because this is a couple of days, but my original plan was to do this one day after the first episode of Adventure Woods came out. And honestly, guys, I was so moved and humbled by the super overwhelmingly positive response in the comment section. Like, so many supportive comments, not just on the YouTube post, but on the Twitter post as well. People were like, yes, I love your Planet Coaster content. It's really great. And, it's just nice to see. And I've said before that these videos don't get as many views as any other series I've ever posted on this channel, but I don't see that as a negative necessarily. I do like it when videos get views. That's the point of YouTube at the end of the day. So, but I really like the aspect that I can basically see every comment. I get the chance to read them all, and I get a bit more, viewer creator interaction, I guess. By the way, this is the part of the video which I had to add in. I'd missed off this entire part of me placing the bus stop and all that. I'm building a bus stop sign. I know I mentioned earlier that I don't like building typefaces in Planet Coaster. I thought this was fairly easy. I used the stenciling technique where you use a custom sign to add a custom image. I just made this text in Photoshop and put it in the game and then traced over it using the art pieces to make a serviceable font. It's clearly a bit janky. It's nowhere near as good or as high a quality as a lot of Planet Coaster players, but it's easy and I think it's good enough for what I need it for. And yeah, this is the bus stop area. If it wasn't obvious from the giant yellow sign that says bus stop, I've gone with what's the way to phrase this? In the UK, bus lanes are all painted red, and this is a theme park that's set in the UK. So I set the bus stop up on red tarmac. There's that other, it's not on screen now, unfortunately, but hopefully you can remember, or you can just rewind the footage if you want. There's another red loop below the bus stop, and that's because the turning circle of the buses in Planet Coaster wouldn't be able to leave the bus stop and join the carriageway and go on the road again. They're too long. So I had a bit of an arcing turning circle so that coaches can realistically leave the bus stop and then turn around and join the road without taking an unrealistically tight corner. And here I am building the coach parking area itself, and I'm super happy with how this came out. The only other time I've really done substantial coach parking was in Velocity Lake. And honestly, Velocity Lake, the car park itself was a very good size when it came to the realism of it, because it was very, very, very big. Still a bit too small to be truly realistic. If you look at a real theme park, the parking lot is at least twice the size of the footprint of the theme park itself, if not even larger. But yes, while by size, as in the size of the Velocity Lake car park was, somewhat realistic, the coach parking was not. It was just I didn't really know where to put the coach parking, so I just created this weird blank area of the car park and shoved a few coach parking spaces on it, and that was it. So you get off the coach and you just plopped in the middle of a big tarmac field, and you have to walk across it to get to the paths that take you to the theme park's entrance. So instead I thought, you know what, we're going to build the bus infrastructure correctly this time. So I've added a dedicated coach parking, and it's right by the entrance to try and incentivize people to not use their cars, to use coaches, public transit. And that kind of brings me onto a nice segue of why this car park is so small. And this is also the same reasoning I gave to why Velocity Lake's car park was so small, relative to the size of the theme park, when considering how big theme park car parks are relative to the size of the theme park in real life, and why Neptune Park's car park was so small relative to the size of the theme park. And that is because, and I built this in episode 3, so you guys probably know what I'm about to say here, I have built a monorail that goes from the entrance of the theme park and just off into the mountains as a sort of pseudo, this is where guests are really coming from. If you want to pay a premium, you want to pay that cash money, you can park in the car park at the theme park, but it's going to cost you a pretty dollar. So instead, we want to encourage people to park in the in some hypothetical Hubland car park. That's what I called it on the monorail departure board. So yes, Hubland car park. It's free, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So you park there and then you get a monorail to the theme park you want to visit. Be it Neptune Park or Velocity Lake or indeed Adventure Woods. That's how you get to the park. And this, achieves quite a few things in one go, actually. First of all, it means I don't have to build quite as big of a car park as I would have to if I wanted to go for a truly realistic theme park because, hey, most guests, they ain't parking here. They ain't making money. Cost of living crisis, etc. They want to park at a cheaper place, get the monorail in. I've made my point, so I'm going to move on. The other the other thing that I achieve by doing this is it gives me a good place to put the guest spawner. So when you build a theme park in Planet Coaster, you start off with some path emerging from a cave on the edge of the map, and guests just emerge from this cave and enter your park. But if you were to pan the camera down, zoom right down, and look inside said cave, there's this weird white building, or block, I suppose, and that's what spawns the guests. It's the guest spawner, if you will. If you play Minecraft, think of the mob spawner. It's like that. But in Scenario Editor, which is the editor that I'm editing Adventure Woods in, and indeed, my other parks, you can actually select the guest spawner piece and move it. And so a lot of people build things like guest information, like buildings or hotels, and then they place the spawner in that, and that's where guests emerge from. And I've seen some really creative things on Reddit, actually, as well, of people building this big double-decker bus around the guest spawner piece, as it looks like we're getting off a bus. But for me, what I like to do is I like to build the guest spawner inside the monorail station building, and so it looks like the guests are coming from the monorail, and that's what I've done. That's what I set out to do with that whole, however long that took to say. Guests will be largely coming from the monorail. But I wanted to also encourage other forms of public transit, and here we are. I think I roundabout wrapped up that whole story. I wanted to encourage public transit. So we've got a nice, really easy access for coaches, a nice, really easy access for the monorail, and those cars... Well, if they want to inconvenience the world with their carbon dioxide pollution, he's getting political again. You can park, but you gotta walk a little bit further, basically. And also that makes sense, right? Some coach parties, they're elderly people. They can't walk as far. None of them can drive because of their cataracts. I don't want them stumbling their way across a sea of tarmac to get to the entrance of the theme park. So. That's what I wanted to say here. I based this whole coach parking turnaround area on some motorway service station in the UK. I don't remember which one. Maybe it was Gloucester Services, but I'm not 100% certain, so don't hold me to that. But yeah, I kind of looked at Google Street View and Google Maps, well, I guess Google Maps and Google Street View, to kind of get a feel for what a realistic coach turnaround area looks like. And I think I did a pretty good job. I think it's a really nice blend of incorporating the, essential infrastructure of the roadway, but also, adding some terrain and some trees and things, because ultimately this is Adventure Woods, Woodland Theme Park, etc., etc. Yes, so that's that done. Now I look back at the screen again and I see, oh my gosh, we're halfway through. I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm running out of things to talk about. Hello, Beth. Hopefully we didn't see any other mistakes and we are still proof watching this video together. Can't actually, give you a hug or anything because in theory we are watching this over Skype. Actually, no, that's an outdated reference, isn't it? Because I'm a boomer, I'm like the old people that called every games console a Nintendo. I'm now that age where I call every video conferencing software Skype. And what's worse is that I'm not referring to Zoom. I'm referring to Discord. And I've got a Discord server, with a lot of over 10,000 members. And I use Discord all the time, so I don't even know why I even called it Skype. But regardless, we're watching this together over Discord. Because Beth is dog sitting our friend's dog this weekend. So we're having a weekend apart from each other. So it's just Beth and the dog at our friend's house, chilling. Me and my cat Hurricane, we're having a little boys' night in, watching my my Planet Coaster content with Beth. So yes, hello Beth. We'll proof watch the next one in person, and all will be good in the world, I guess. That's I said hello Beth a couple of episodes ago, and it turned out we actually were proof watching the video together, and she really liked that. She actually started crying. It was super embarrassing, guys. But yeah, hello, Beth. Love you. Love your support. Hello, watching this video together. So, I've just remembered something. Moving swiftly along. I remembered one of the things I talked about in take 1 of this commentary before I realized I needed to add an extra 20 minutes of footage to the video. And that was that I was just literally scrolling through the comment section of Adventure Woods episode 1. Like, I think the top comment right now for me was by Hell O, who simply wrote, "Most anticipated series of the century." And I'm very flattered by that. Thank you, Hell O. I feel like, saying this back, it sounds like I'm being facetious or sarcastic or whatever, and I'm really not. I guess is it because I'm British? I just sound sarcastic all the time. I don't know. But anyway, yes, thank you so much, Hell O. And we've got Brendan Dye. Matt's back with Planet Coaster. I've always loved this series. Felix All-Star Bass or Star Bass. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that in that context. Dan, from exploring planets to playing Planet Coaster. Matt does it all at this point. And there have been so many other supportive comments, guys. It's been really good. But I was scrolling way, way down. And I found a little comment buried in the comment section with no likes or anything whatsoever, by Chill Plays. That is chill as in cold, and also the first phrase of chillax, a word that I despise. It combines chill and relax to ironically create the most infuriating word ever conceived by man. But yes, Chill Plays. So chill, like I just described, and plays as in like plays with a yo-yo. Using it in a random sentence, but plays is spelt with a Z, because Chill Plays, it's cool, down with the kids, unlike me, where I refer to Discord as Skype, it would seem. But Chill Plays said, "The end cards have no functioning links to videos, subscribing, or Patreon. At least that is the case for me." And I was like, hold up, let's go back and check. And it turned out Chill Plays was right on the money. There was no mention. I forgot to add the end screen stuff and all that. So I replied saying, "Hello, I am currently," and like, this is the thing. You guys missed this excitement. Actually, do you know what? I still have the audio files from my previous commentary. So I'm now going to find the bit of the commentary where I said this and all of that. I think it'd be funny. I thought it would be funny at the time. It probably won't be that funny. But I'm going to just now find the audio that I previously recorded and play it back to you, because it was like me replying to the comment in real time, and I thought it'd be... yeah, whatever. Play now. Transition. Chill Plays. The end cards have no functioning links to videos, subscribing, or Patreon. I'm now going to heart the comment. There it is. It's hearted. I'm now going to write a reply. Let's write the reply together. "Hello. I am currently literally... this is not a joke. Recording the commentary for..." This is like riveting stuff, I know. If you guys... commentary for episode 8. And I am now directly verbally replying to this comment. I'm now going to add a smiley face emoji when the episode drops. Fast forward to like 45 minutes and you can hear me reply to this. I'm gonna add a custom emoji. I'm gonna add a little Matt Lowne emoji, which you can use as well if you sign up to my membership program. Don't feel obligated to. I'm gonna now take a little snipping tool of this comment, and there, and now I'm just gonna stick it on screen so you guys can see it. And I just realized that I left the some of the Chill Plays username highlighted after my control Fing of my commentaries, my comment section of Adventure Woods episode 1. And we're rapidly approaching the conclusion of Adventure Woods episode 8. Oof. We are now returning to Friday, Matt, where I'm now doing the commentary that you were listening to up until that specific point where I wrote the live reply to Chill Plays, spelt with a Z. I've already done that bit. And yeah, I say oof because we're not near the end now. there's like another 20 minutes of length to this video because of the fact that I forgot to add a sizable amount of the footage to the video. So yeah, that is on me. But now I'm like, oh, I look back at past Matt, so young and naive, those 22 hours ago, at the prospect of finishing the commentary imminently. It ain't happening now. It ain't happening now. We've got a long old way to go, but we're going to get there together, guys. You, me, the screen, my Pepsi Max. Let's just add a bit of time with me going to little sip. I do struggle with these with the longer commentaries. I don't know. Do you guys enjoy the longer episodes? I think a lot of people, whenever I post a really long episode at least, the response is usually quite positive. But I'm also a bit mindful that I struggle to talk for like coherently for an hour about, well, actually I was about to say, I was trying to think of the things I've talked about in this commentary, and it's all a bit of a blackout, to be honest. But like, it's hard to talk about, you know, Planet Coaster car parks. I know the world's smallest violin is now playing for me because I know I'm in a very privileged position. You know, being a YouTuber is a lot of people's dream job. It's my dream job. I was trying to be a YouTuber since like 2008 when I was trying to make videos with my friends when I was in school, and all our videos sucked. They were terrible. Do you know what? I'm going to add more things on screen now just to break up the monotony of this Planet Coaster videos. Look at that. It's 15, maybe, year-old Matt making a video with my friends and posting it to YouTube. It was all terrible. And if you're a Patreon member, then I think it's still the case. If you're a Patreon member, you get access to that channel. I send you a link to the channel when you subscribe to my Patreon, so there you are. I don't know if that's still the case. Any Patreon members still watching? If you want to let me know, then I will. That's it, actually. If I don't, then probably that's a good thing. You don't want to see that. It's a bit embarrassing, cringe, but also a part of my life, I guess, that helped shaped the creator that I am. A very professional, always on point, always talking about the footage as it appears on screen. Here is the parking lot. I now look at the screen for the first time in quite some time, and I'm like, I've pretty much built it, and I failed to really address any of the construction of it, really. But I feel like the actual footage itself does enough of the talking where I don't need to, you know, explicitly describe every single thing that's happening. And we know from experience that whenever I try and directly commentate over what's happening on screen, I can never keep up because it's happening so fast. And you guys know, because I've said it again ad nauseum, that the actual frame rate for me is at like 5 frames per second. I can't possibly keep up with the time lapse because it is just like a PowerPoint presentation level of speed in terms of the playback. So it is really difficult. And especially this episode, which is like sped up a bit faster than I normally speed things up. Because again, I'm just placing tarmac down and road signs for an hour tops. You know, I know it's not quite an hour, but for me, it feels like 5 hours. And probably for you guys, it feels like 12 hours and 35 minutes and 42 seconds exactly. Okay. I've calculated this using scientific methods in scientific labs with scientists. So, yeah, it's a bit of a long old slog, long and short of it. But I do think that overall, the car park is I think it's pretty realistic. The only thing I guess that I was thinking about incorporating into this car park but never did was that if you go back and watch Velocity Lake again, and I guess a lot of other Planet Coaster YouTubers' parks, is that a lot of players will build like big toll booths into the car park. So cars will be channeled into the car park single file, that was the wrong wording, one way down a road that then splits up the lanes into like toll booth sections. So you enter, you pay a ticket at the toll booth, and then the toll booth opens, and then you enter the car park and you got a ticket, and that's how it's all done. But like I said, I never really liked building road infrastructure in Planet Coaster, and toll booths, they can be especially finicky to place and all that. And I just think that like Planet Coaster road building is at its easiest when it's just a big grid and loads of straight pieces. So I just decided to forgo the whole toll booth thing and just leave it as is. I've been to theme parks with no toll booths. I think Alton Towers, in fact, doesn't have a toll booth, and neither does Thorpe Park or Blackpool Pleasure Beach, but that barely has a car park at all. And what other ones I've been to? Drayton Manor doesn't really have a car park. American Adventure closed down a long time ago. That's how old I am, but that didn't have a toll booth. I'm just saying, not necessary. Maybe it's just an American thing. Are there any theme parks in the UK that have toll booths? I'm now just trying to rack my brain. I don't think... I mean, I feel like Alton Towers and Thorpe Park are the two biggest theme parks in the country. Like, Alton Towers being the biggest. Don't know if I was right to put emphasis on the word "the," but I'm tired, guys. Okay, I just got home from work. I get home at like 6, and I cycled home, and it was really windy. The wind was blowing in my face the whole way through. It was like pedaling uphill the entire way back home. I then, phoned Beth and said, "How are you getting on? Dog sitting? Do you wanna proof watch my Planet Coaster video? It's like an hour long, but we can slog our way through it." And then it was like half an hour in. It turned out, actually, the footage needs to be completely redone because I've messed up the editing horribly. So I'm like, okay, fine. Then I went upstairs, dragged the footage I needed to drag into Sony Vegas. That's what I did. And then I found the right place in the timeline to splice it in. And then I had to edit it, speed it up, which took a good half an hour. And the long and short of it is that it's now 8:45 for me. I've not eaten a single thing today. I don't generally eat breakfast or lunch because just at work, I'm always busy. I'm in clinic and I work in a hospital. If you guys didn't know what I do for a job, I find myself, I just don't really generally have time to eat lunch. And also, people say that's unhealthy, right? But I feel like when we were cavemen, we weren't just eating at 9, 12, and 5. We would just eat once every 3 days. We'd have a mammoth gut. There was 7,000 calories, and then we wouldn't eat for 3 days. Anyway, I'm just saying, I think, I guess what I do is intermittent fasting, but I'm not deliberately doing that. It's just easiest for me. I've conditioned myself to get used to this way of life where I just eat once a day and just have a massive meal, and that's how I live my life. But, bring myself back to this, I'm not used to going this long, but it's now 10 to 9. Actually, it's a bit, and how much commentary we need to do still? We're at 42 minutes. It's another 10 minutes of commentary, and I'm flagging. I'm definitely struggling. So if you're probably gonna hear me getting more and more slurred and guys. In 10 minutes time, I'm gonna be guys, I just chicken kebab. I mean, parking lot. I love the cheese. I mean, the parking lines. Food is on the mind. Food is on the mind. I'm not me when I'm hungry, and I'm hungry now. So, now I've depleted my internal my internal RAM of things to talk about. Should I look back at the screen? I just see that I have done my car park extension. So this is car park extension 1 of 2. So I built the car park and all that. I was happy with it. And I was like, you know what? It's not quite as big as I want it to be. So I added this little sort of annex to the car park just to make it a little bit larger. And I was a bit more satisfied with the overall size of the car park from this point forth. However, it's kind of spoiler alert maybe for the rest of the series, but eventually the theme park ends up spiraling out of control. It becomes way bigger than I intended it to be. And then I looked back at the car park and I was like, it's a bit too small. I know I've already established that, most people will be parking at some monorail station. Well, I should say, most people are parking at a giant free car park miles away, and they get the monorail in. But still, I feel like the car park on site should be slightly bigger, at least for staff more than anything else. So I will extend the car park at some point in the future, but the future is not right now. Actually, for me, it is. Hey, I said earlier, for you guys, it's 2 months since the first episode. But for me, it's 2 days. It's like they rhyme. 2 days, 2 months. Whoa. Amazing. I'm going to come back in 2024, 2 years from now, and be like, hey, where is my Bugatti? I said that I was going to have a Bugatti at the beginning of this video. Where is it? Matt, where, you, the one proof watching this video, go and invest right now in Bitcoin and Ethereum and the other stuff and get yourself a Bugatti. That's what it's all about, guys. Guys, you need to join my Patreon and my channel membership scheme right now. Ideally both. Join the highest tier. that Bugatti is not going to pay for itself. And I'm doing this not out of selfishness because I want a Bugatti, but because I want to support German industry. Volkswagen owns Bugatti. Germany is a very, I believe to be a very poor country. They haven't got a very big economy, so they need the help. And I for one, want to be that help. So I would like to selfishly purchase a Bugatti Chiron. So make sure you have joined my Patreon and subscribe to my channel's membership scheme if you'd like to. Of course, I'm being, again, facetious. And I think that, whenever I make these jokes, I'm like, don't worry, guys, I'm joking, it's fine, don't feel like you have to. But then I watch it back and I'm like, cringe, it was obvious you were being jokey. But at the same time, I know there are people that probably might not, understand. I mean, it's a cultural difference, right? I'm British, I'm from Bing Bong Land. Someone who's not from Bing Bong Land might not get our sense of sarcasm, so I try and backstep, but then that sort of undoes the whole humour of the commentary. So what am I doing right now? Let's just look at the screen, because I've run out of things to talk about once again. I'm building some planters out of the spooky wooden planks. And this is one of the, I was about to say contention, but I guess contentions isn't really the right word, but one of my, I guess, weird issues I have with Planet Coaster that isn't really an issue, but basically Planet Coaster has all of its scenery pieces and it divvies them up into certain categories. And that wooden plank that I was placing that I appreciate is now gone. I'm doing something else, but use your imagination. That wooden plank that I was using to border off all the planter areas, that is considered a spooky piece of scenery. So every time you place one of those planks in the game, it plays some spooky sound effect, like a wolf howling or some bats fluttering or some crows crowing. And I'm like, I'm not placing a spooky thing, Planet Coaster. Stop telling me off saying, I see you're building a spooky area. No, I'm not. I'm building that's it. That's the end of it. I'm like, Planet Coaster, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm doing. Stop trying to judge or assign meaning to what I'm doing here. Because assigning meaning to anything that I make clearly, is a mistake. What has this commentary even been about? I could not tell you a single thing I mentioned, apart from the fact that I did a commentary of this video beforehand, and it all went terribly wrong, and I had to make another one, which is really a good metaphor for this whole series, really. It's all been a bit of one giant mistake. Let's go with that. Let's call a spade a spade. Hopefully, this series is even still going. I said in the first episode, who knows if I'll carry on uploading this because it might just destroy my channel's rankings in the YouTube algorithm. And I still don't know if it will. I'm only 2 days in from this. I haven't uploaded anything since uploading the Adventure Woods episode 1 video. I'm ready to start filming the Space This Week video for October the 10th. Maybe that was the million view video and broke my channel out, whatever. Hope it probably wasn't. But yeah, I haven't uploaded anything other than Planet Coaster since I started recording this video. So, yeah, I still don't know if anyone's going to watch this video. I still don't know if this is just a series that I'm going to watch with Beth. Hello, Beth. Hopefully you're still here and they haven't just fallen asleep, dog sitting all those miles away. But regardless, I can see the finish line is indeed in sight, kind of. And I hope you are enjoying this series. If you are watching this video so far, 48 minutes, over 48 minutes, in fact, into this episode, you're way past the average viewer duration. So congratulations on making it this far. If you made it this far, hey, I haven't done this in 5 years. And in fact, it's more than that because I forgot about the time warp that was the COVID years. So, where was it? So, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 6 years since I've done this. But if you made it this far into the video, I want you to comment the following below. Blue banana farmers represent. We started that off with tomato farmers represent, but their time is done. Now it's all about the blue bananas. Blue banana farmers represent. Write that down below if you made it this far. But yeah, anyway, I just remembered something that has happened in my life since I recorded the first version of this video, and that is the first ever trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie released yesterday. And yeah, the Super Mario Brothers movie has always been interesting because I'm like, why is Chris Pratt cast as Mario? That seems weird, but hey, let's see what happens. I watched the trailer and it's Chris Pratt playing Chris Pratt. And a lot of people on Reddit, in fact, the whole of Reddit, is losing their minds over this. They're like, Chris Pratt's going to ruin it. He's just doing Chris Pratt. And I'm just sitting here like, of course. Why would you expect anything else? He's obviously just going to do Chris Pratt because he only ever plays Chris Pratt in films. I like Chris Pratt, when he's used appropriately. He's a charismatic guy. He's a friendly guy. He's said a couple of weird things on social media. I'll give you that. But generally, seems like a fairly why did I say that so weird? Fairly. He seems like a fairly likable fellow. But he always plays Chris Pratt. So do not channel your anger on Chris Pratt. Why did the director cast Chris Pratt as Mario? Like, the director would have known what Chris Pratt would have done because I know what Chris Pratt would have done. And who am I? The only films I've directed are Kerbal Space Program films that I filmed myself in a video game and edited it with subtitles and all that. Like, I ain't no Hollywood movie director. So, I don't know why anyone was surprised. And also, if it does end up sucking, don't blame Chris Pratt. He was hired to be Chris Pratt. That's why he was hired. So, blame the director if you're going to blame anyone. Now, I did crossfade the footage there, but I failed to talk about it because I was still defending Chris Pratt for some reason. I didn't showcase the entirety of me placing the cars and... Actually, that's it, the cars in the car park because... It's a very long and boring process, and honestly, you didn't miss anything, so I thought let's just crossfade something more interesting, like the placing of lampposts, which, now I say that out loud, doesn't really sound that interesting or compelling, but it is still better than me placing 50,000 cars for 20 minutes, so let's just commit to this. But yeah, the Mario trailer looked pretty good, other than obviously Chris Pratt is just Chris Pratt with a very slight twinge of Brooklyn accent. Like, I could barely pick it up. It was only because Americans in the comments highlighted this that I could detect it. But yeah, I'm not the target audience, am I? Like, it's a children's movie. I know everyone's saying, oh yeah, it's going to be for the millennials who grew up with Mario. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's going to be for children. It's a Mario movie. Like, children love Mario. I work in eyes. I see a lot of pediatric patients. They all love Mario. It's for them. It's not for me. So I can't be that mad. Like, they just want to see a fun film about Mario fighting the fire-breathing dinosaur. And what's not to love about that? And Jack Black, may I say, completely stole the show. What a performance. I would like to see the film purely to see Jack Black beat Bowser. Like, that was great. Anyway, that was a super weird and off-topic tangent, which, I know, for me, big words. But hey, I'm now looking at the screen once again after declaring that, and I can see that we made it. So, guys, make yourself a cup of tea or a beer if that's more your thing. And, congratulate yourself on making it this far. I said that because, Greenham Gaming uploaded a video for the first time in a very long time. And I remember enjoying Greenham Gaming, and then they stopped uploading for, a long time. And they made another video, and I was like, oh. Anyway, that was again, another weird little tangent. I'm just saying. Here we are. We made it. You know what, guys? I'm going to reward you with a POV of Wicked Twister, the yellow coaster, because the views have changed because I built the car park. So enjoy this as an apology letter for the. That's how I'm ending this. And there we are. There is the brake run. So, guys, in all seriousness, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much if you made it this far in. I promise the next video is going to be more interesting. I just wanted to get all the road infrastructure and stuff out of the way because I don't find this to be the most compelling stuff for me, at least. I hope you enjoyed it, though, regardless. There's an end screen present. You know what to do, clicking all the things. And that's it. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.